Hello and welcome to the beautiful island province of Phuket, which this year hosts the 23rd Laguna Phuket Triathlon, otherwise known as the Race of Legends. The event is hosted by Laguna Resorts, who go to great lengths to ensure that the athletes and their families have everything they need. 3 kilometers of beach, pools, spas. This place is designed for rest and recuperation. The average person might play a few holes of golf or the odd game of tennis, but it's becoming synonymous with triathlon. And the Laguna Phuket was this year recognised as Thailand's best amateur sports event.
We started this race 1994. This is our 23rd year. And over the years, it's evolved. When it originally started, it was more about the community and putting Phuket on the map within the Phuketian environment. And Thai Airways and the local government were a strong supporter of ours. So it's evolved now. It's become a national race where the Ministry of Sport from Bangkok take this race very seriously. In the region, across the region, Southeast Asia, we have many participants and organizations. So we've grown and we're happy to have spearheaded this race.
Last year's champions, Michael Raelert from Germany and Simone Brandley from Switzerland, they took the bulk of the prize money. Michael Raelert is back to defend his title, but he faces a tough field. Australian Armand Brad Carlefelt, 2014 joint winner Alberto Casade from Italy, and Frenchman Anthony Costes, who now lives in Phuket. He's back as well. Raelert didn't have it too easy last year, and he's not had a brilliant season so far.
I did like 2 races in America, but they didn't went well because I lost a long time of not training. Right now I train a bit more and I hope I'm in a better shape, and this race I take way more serious, but with another portion of love and passion, and so yeah, so I'm looking forward, but it's actually my 3rd race this year.
Italian Alberto Casade, he shared the victory in 2014 with Chigana, and he's recently competed in Malaysia. He's in good form and he's very, very familiar with this course.
That's my 7th time here. It's amazing to race here. I know this race. I knew this race before I came the first time. Everybody knows also in Europe that this is the Race of Legends, and so I really expected to race here, and when I came in the first time with the Italian group of Triathlon Travel, that was great. It was the first experience, was amazing, and then on my mind came that idea that I would like to win, and I won this race. I won with Massimo. It was an incredible day. We came together, me and Massimo Cigana. He is my team training mate. We live 2 kilometers far each other in Italy, close to Venice, so it was unbelievable. Came together to the finish line of this awesome race.
Great Britain's Emma Pallant has to be one of the favourites. 27 years old now. From track running and cross-country running, she's a full-time triathlete. And under Michelle Dillon, she's going for the longer distances and getting better every time out. Now, Radka Vodichkova beat Emma Pallant in the 70.3 in her FI. She's 32 from the Czech Republic, and it's been impossible to keep her off the podium this year. It's been a brilliant season.
I had a great year. 2016 was an amazing year. I started racing already in February, and Laguna Phuket is my last race this year, so February until almost December. It was a long season, but I've done, I think, 14 races. I was 13 times on podium, and I loved the whole year, and I love also finishing the season with Laguna Phuket as traditionally. It's my favorite race, and at the end of the season it's just great to relax at the after party as well.
Well, she's got some work to do before she can enjoy that as the athletes gather at the start. Over 600 athletes involved from 39 different countries. Every year it's attracting more and more people.
I think our race offers a very unique experience for athletes. Our swim consists of 2 bodies of water. which is quite unusual. We have a sea swim in the Andaman Sea for the first 1,200 meters, or 1,280, and then we've got a swim of 520 meters through the freshwater lagoon. So that offers quite a unique challenge to our athletes. They have the buoyancy of the salt water in the sea, and then they enter the lagoon, which is freshwater, so they don't have any buoyancy there. So it's quite a different sensation for them jumping in the water there. And yeah, it makes it very unique. I don't think there are too many races in the world that have two different bodies of water, so that's what makes our swim quite unique, I think.
To introduce the top professional women and men, there is just 1 minute that will separate their wave start time.
So the elite men ready on the line, just 9 athletes vying for the prize money. As I said, 25,000 euros up for grabs in the prize purse, and the bulk of it going to number 1 man and woman. Just 1 minute separating the start of the men and the women. Emma Pallant there, number 14. Vandichkova from the Czech Republic, certainly expected to do something here. She's the 3-time champion, and her fiance racing as well. And those two, certainly an opportunity for them to boost the coffers before the Christmas break. So keep an eye on Imogen Simmons of Great Britain. Interesting to see how she does in the water. Amelie Rose Watkinson of New Zealand, another athlete that's having a tremendous breakthrough season. The first of 3 big waves. That's what I call a full start, but no chance of calling them back as they sprint down the beach into the waves. Now, as you saw, 2 different sections to this swim. The first in the sea, a clockwise triangle, some 1,400 meters, and then they're into the lagoon to do the rest of the distance. So plenty of buoyancy, and you might have noticed at the start that a number of them are wearing double suits. The bottom layer is the tri-suit, and then on top of that, a lot of them have got very thin neoprene suits just to give them some extra buoyancy. Not necessary in the sea, but they will want it for the 500 meters in the lagoon, which is the second phase of the swim, and that's where the good swimmers should be able to open up a little bit of a gap. So the leading men, and nothing really between them. Michael Raylett doing the bulk of the donkey work. He's in the light blue suit in front. I think that's Anthony Costas just behind him from front. He's a good swimmer. Off comes the cap. That's no problem. Neatly done. Wave number 3. Now the idea is that all the waves are in the water and out of the way before the elite complete the C section of the swim. Difficult start, and those who've spent some time surfing will know exactly how to negotiate the waves and save some energy at the same time. Now these are the top 3 women. We've got Vandichkova in there in first place. I think that's Watkinson. It is Watkinson in second, and Emma Pallant at the back of that group. She's doing well to hang on. So many athletes that come from other sports, cycling, running, struggle with the swim. Those who've been swimming all their lives have a massive advantage initially. It's Michael Raylett, whose brother Andreas is a brilliant triathlete as well. He's first out of the water, the defending champion in front, in control at the moment, but he still has another 500 meters to go in the lagoon, and he has a good long check over his shoulder to see where the opposition are. That's Costas in second place, and these two have opened up a bit of a gap. Now if they can get clear, no, not a brilliant entry to the water. There was an opportunity there to break away, but I think those athletes in 3, 4, possibly even 5 and 6 are going to jump onto the end of this line. Raylett leading, Costas in second, as he has been for much of the race so far. We've got Karlefelt in third. Well, this is the back end of the elite men and the leading women. It's Amelie Rose Watkinson who's got herself a little bit clear. It's not a massive lead, but she's in a good, strong position. She's living in Thailand now. Auckland is where she comes from. Brilliant place, Auckland, but just so she can train all year round and train in conditions of high temperatures, high humidity, which is where so many of the big earning races are held. And that's why she's based out here. So once across the lagoon, the start and the finish of the swim in different places, which just adds to the complexity of the race as they come into T1. So off comes the swimsuit. You can see the tri-suit underneath, and most of the swimsuits, what, 1 mil, 2 mil wetsuits, just give that little bit of buoyancy to the body. Stockman, and there's a familiar face at the back of the field. That's Richie Nichols from Scotland, who's having a good season and still umming and ahhing whether he sticks with the 70.3s and goes up to the full Ironman, or whether he keeps going, keeps bashing away at the Olympic distance. So Michael Rayler leads the way down to the bikes in T1. He looks very, very relaxed. You might have heard in his interview saying that he really struggled on the run last year, but he's done a lot more heat training, so he knows what's coming. And as he takes his oversuit off, Anthony Costas is away. 26-year-old Frenchman, very good bike rider indeed. He's been racing since the age of 11. And there's Brad Carlefelt at the back of those four. That's Alberto Cazadei just leading. And let's have a look at the positions as they came out of the water. Rayler, Costas, Carlefelt, nothing really between them. And don't forget Richie Nichols, who came out in 6th position in the men's swim. 1,800 metres, I should say, for the swim. We've got a 50k bike ride and then a 12-kilometre run. The leading three women haven't been separated by more than a couple of metres all the way around the swim, and they're together in T1. Watkinson, Pallant, Vadichkova, who's going to be first away. Emma Pallant, good drills from her. 1, 2, 3 bottles of water, 85% humidity, the average here at this time of year, with temperatures around 27, 28. It can get hotter than that at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So Watkinson, as we saw, Vadichkova, Pallant, Imogen Simmons, she's given away 2:20 in the water, but she's good on the bike. It's now time for her to make her move. Leading the race, Anthony Costas of France, a man who's got a PhD in biomechanics, and he's showing good body awareness on his bike. He gained a little bit of an advantage coming out of T2, and he's already opened up the gap on Michael Rayler, the defending champion. Rayler's got Brad Carlefelt with him. Alberto Cazadei also up with the leading groups, but the margin about 45 seconds up to Anthony Costas, so he's had a tremendous start. There's Carlefelt spinning the bike over. Well, he'd love to get a podium finish today. Now, this island is world famous for its temple, the Wat Phra Thong, and this is where the half-buried golden statue of Buddha was discovered. And many of the athletes come to this temple to pray and ask for luck before the race. One such athlete is the Thai racer Nichakan Ratanaporn. She's won many age group races in her time and is looking to add this one to her collection. She's actually studying to be a doctor and stumbled across triathlon by mistake.
Many years ago, when I was in university, about first or second year, I started running for fun, for charity, and then it builds up from there. I just ran 10 kilometers, and then it builds up to marathon, and then I really, really enjoy it. And then one day I see a clip on YouTube about, oh wow, there's this sport, swim, bike, and run, and I thought, you know, I really like challenges. I kind of swim, but not a swimmer, but I don't drown, I would say. And then I don't really know how to ride a bike, but I really want to give it a try. And then I have already been running, so I think triathlon would be a very nice new challenge. So I took it from there.
So let's have a look at the bike course. It's an anti-clockwise loop, and as you can see from the profile on the left, there are 4 major climbs on the course. 50 kilometers the total distance, and it's reckoned to be a very technical ride indeed. Well, the men's race developing nicely, with Michael Raylett leading the chasers, trying to close the gap down on this man, Anthony Costas, who's having a very good start indeed. He's based in Thailand, so he's well acclimatised to the conditions. 27 years old, and he's had a couple of very good 70.3s in his time, so I don't think he'll be fazed by the distances here in Phuket. The women's race starting to look as though Amelia Rose Watkinson is taking control. She's gained a little bit of a gap over Pallant and Vodichkova. So Pallant leading the chasing pair as we close in on Watkinson from New Zealand, coached by Bevan McKinnon. And she's raced all over the place: China, Korea, Malaysia, Philippines. And she's rather like Vodichkova. She's finding winning very easy indeed. We'll have a look at that list of victories that she's had in 2016 alone. Well, I hope she doesn't overdo it, but she's showing no signs of slowing down at the moment.
Quite a technical bike course when it comes to a triathlon. We've got the Nighton Hills to finish up, so I think that's about 5 hills, and a couple of them are really short and sharp, so that'll be a good test.
Well, it certainly will be. When she says short and sharp, they are very sharp. It will certainly have a few of the age groupers off their bikes and pushing them up the hill. 1 or 2 technical corners as well. Raylett's been here before. He knows where to push and where to play safe. Anthony Costas again. Worked in a team with Chris McCormack, who's world famous, of course. Didn't qualify for Kona this year, which is what he was after. Watkinson certainly could be a Kona champion in the future. She's showing great class today. Now Watkinson, as we look at Vodichkova back in 3rd at the moment. I can tell you that Imogen Simmons of Great Britain is closing, having been 2 minutes 20 behind out of the water. She's closing down on the leaders. Well, this event is the premier event in Thailand, and it's attracted some huge names in the past. Mike Pigg, Greg Walsh, Craig Alexander, Paulie Newby Fraser's raced here as well. But one athlete who keeps coming back, it's Jürgen Zach. He's now retired from the sport, but currently living in Phuket, so he's racing for the fun of it.
Well, my first time was 97, but I got invited to come here in 94, 95, 96 because of my commitment to do Hawaii. I couldn't make it here, but when I got invited the 4th time, I was really impressed in 1997 about Phuket in general, about the Laguna resort, about the race, and then I decided to come back as much as I can.
Well, he's remained true to his word, and he's out there on the roads again today. Lots of different distances available. You don't have to do the full distance, and plenty have come for the shorter races. And as we said, over 600 entries this year. The event keeps on growing. And a lot of the athletes combining it with a holiday. Now Costas rock steady on the bike, and still holding his own against Michael Raylett. The gap hasn't grown or decreased over the last 20 minutes or so. Raylett keeps the pressure on, doesn't want to let Costas get too far ahead. He's a quicker runner, Raylett, there's no doubt about that, provided he's still in good condition when he gets to the start of the run. Last year he felt very sluggish, but that was largely due to the heat. That won't be the case with Costas. He's been training here for years now. He knows exactly how to cope, what pace to go. Familiar with these roads as well. And he's looking very comfortable. Emma Pallant now takes her turn behind Vodichkova. And away goes one of the water bottles. She's got 2 more. So she's a third of the way through the water, and just about over halfway through the bike ride now. Well, Pallant's done pretty well since she stepped up to the longer distance racing, and Michelle Dillon working wonders for her. Be interesting to see what she can achieve over the next couple of years. Watkinson likewise. Very powerful rider. She's extending her lead over the rest of the field and is on schedule for a sub 120 50-kilometre ride through the 30-kilometre mark. Another 20k to go for the women's leader. Anthony Costas, he's gone sub 4 for 70.3. That gives you some idea of the class. Incidentally, winners in the past here, we've got Rudy Wild, Chigana, he's won twice. Jan Frodeno's won here, and from Great Britain, Simon Lessing won here back in 1996, so that is why it's known as the Race of Legends. There's Scotland's Richie Nichols, won the London Triathlon in 2011. That was a big turning point for him. Always struggled a little bit with the swim, and once he gets that up to world-class level, then he's going to be a very, very dangerous athlete indeed. 25.20 for Watkinson out of the water for the 1.8 kilometre swim. That's not bad racing at all. Costas shows his knowledge. He knew exactly when to sit up. He's been out on these roads and he's checked them over, and he's pushing when he can and when he should, and he knows what's coming. This is one of the biggest hills on the route. It starts steady but gets steeper and steeper and steeper, and therefore the selection of gear is vitally important. That's Watkinson again, who's not a bad runner. I don't think she runs quite as well as Emma Pallant, who comes from a running background, of course, European champion at cross country and a bronze medalist at the, what was it, under 22, under 23 athletics world championships over 1500 meters, Emma Pallant. So she will be strong on the latter phases. Brad Karlefeld, 37 now, a veteran, but still getting a fair amount of success. Partner Doradka Vodichkova, and the pair of them both racing today.
I don't mind the climbs. You know, in Noosa out the back, we climb a fair bit, and I don't mind it. But obviously, Michael Raylett rides really well, and he'd be looking to get away on those climbs. But yeah, we'll see.
Traffic-free roads, such a bonus for the race. And some fast descents to go with it. It's not just about your ability to climb hills. Valuable seconds can be gained on these technical sections. Costas, who's had a lonely race so far, working his way down to Nathon Beach, and his lead at the moment, 45 seconds over the defending champion Michael Raylett. This is going all the way. Welcome back to the 2016 Laguna Phuket Triathlon. Now, Phuket has many charms, and of course, over the years has attracted hundreds of thousands of tourists every single year. But many would say that the real part of town is the old part of town, which was really developed after the boom in the tin industry. And that, of course, was last century. You'll find Chinese and Buddhist temples. Many would say that the ideal time to visit is early morning. For the athletes, some will be wishing they'd started earlier on, because it's getting hot and it's getting very steep. Amelia Rose Watkinson, she's pretty much smiled away round the course so far, showing good strength on this climb. Still some way to go, but she's got a lead of what seems to be about 2 minutes 30 over Emma Pallant and Radka Vodichkova, who haven't really been separated for the entire race so far. The New Zealander is in control of this one. She's not the best of runners, but my goodness, she's doing a lot of damage on the bike, and I think with this climb she might gain a few more valuable seconds. Michael Raylett, less than a minute behind the race leader now, He's starting to claw back a little bit of the time that he lost to Anthony Costas in the first half of the ride. Well, at 36, he's no spring chicken, but my goodness, he can dig deep when he has to. Of course, won the Miami Ironman 70.3 2 years ago. Now, this is Anthony Costas, and he's crawling down the hill, and it looks as though he's just had a fall off the bike. There are one or two slightly slippy sections, and he's come a cropper, which you wouldn't expect for someone who lives here, trains on these roads, but just shows how tricky it can be. Is that going to be a move that cost Costas the race? We'll see when he gets running whether he's limping or not. Watkinson of New Zealand still not under threat, still on schedule for a sub 120 50k on the bike, and that's not bad going. If she can back it up with a half decent run, she should be the 2016 champion here in Phuket. Early days to say that though. Well, that's the first time that the severity of the course has wiped the smile off her face. She really is digging deep. Costas with one look, two looks over his shoulder. Of course, not quite doubling back on itself. The only stage they got to see exactly where they were was at 10 kilometres, but they won't really get a good chance to work out where they lie. Emma Pallant coming up to the steepest climb now. It's a tricky left-hand bend, many taking it on the outside. She's going for the inside line. Steepest, slowest, that will build the lactate a little. Vodichkova still behind her, and I can tell you that Imogen Simmons is now less than 30 seconds behind this pair. So Simmons has had a tremendous run. Remember, she was 2 minutes 20 behind these two athletes coming out of the water. Watkinson was with them coming out the water and actually led much of the swim. Now she medals at the New Zealand Cycling Championship, so that's why she's looking very classy out there on the bike. Vodichkova, a regular here in Phuket. Vodichkova, of course, the three-time champion here, and her and her partner, Brad Karlefelt, soaking up the hospitality in Thailand for a week before the race. And this will be their last race of the season before they head back to Australia to tie the knot. So we wish them well, both with the race and, of course, with their future. Well, both Vodichkova and Karlefelt are in line for podium finishes as we watch the men's race leader approach T2. Anthony Costas has been on his own from start to finish. Another fine cycling performance from him. But the question is, how much of a time gap has he got? We had it down at around 45 seconds last time we had a split. Costas might need more than that, because he knows that if Michael Raylett is on form in terms of running, he's going to be a very, very difficult man to beat. But no sign of Raylett quite yet. That's 20 seconds gone. Costas is away. What does he need? Normally over 10 Ks, he's a minute 45 to 2 minutes slower than Michael Raylett, and he's got to race 12 Ks today. Has he worked too hard? He has not had any assistance whatsoever. Out he goes, 2 times round the 6 kilometre loop, and in comes Michael Raylett. It is 43 seconds, the margin between the two of them. It's tight. Raylett's still at the transition area. Costas is away. Well, the shoes are tight. That's costing him a couple of seconds. But just watch how he gets into his running. What does he weigh? 74 kilos for a man well over 6 foot. He's a lean, lean monster. Now, he really struggled with the heat last year. He's taking this race very seriously this time round. He's made sure that he's acclimatised, and he's still sitting in second position. It's been a long chase, 50 kilometres on the bike. He did not see anything of Anthony Costas, and now he's got to chase him down. Does he do it early? Does he wait for the second half? We'll wait and see. Well, it's nice being out front, but it's exhausting being chased for hour after hour. Now we're going to find out just how strong Anthony Costas is. Third out of the transition area, or into the transition areas. That was Alberto Cazadei, and we saw Brad Carlefelt coming in as well, just ahead of Peter Schockman, and Richie Nichols of Scotland also within 6.5 minutes of the race leader. Costas, who's out on the roads, the first kilometre and a half, almost 2 kilometres completed now. Well, the volunteers have done a tremendous job here. The race instruction says spend the whole week hydrating. They know how dangerous it can be if you're not used to these conditions. Average temperatures for November, December in Phuket, 27, 28 degrees. Well, these men have another 10 Ks to go. Emily Rose Watkinson has less than that. Really solid bike ride from her so far. Part of the Thanyapura Pro team, and she's certainly settling in well in Thailand, and incredible the advances she's made over the last 18 months. Started her career back in 2009 as we watch Costas work his way out towards the golf course, really the run course. As I mentioned, 2 laps of 6 kilometres, and it goes from one golf course to another. Just watching everyone else relax as they work 100%, trying to secure a decent paycheck. Nice cornering skills from Watkinson as she comes in towards T2. Now that's 1 hour, 18 minutes on the clock at the moment, so she's going to be sub 1:19, and I've got it that she's some 5.5, 6 minutes clear of her nearest rival. Well, that is phenomenal. Has she pushed too hard? Has she got anything left in those legs for the 12K run? It's mostly flat, it's fast. Now, it's not often you see a triathlete putting socks on. Certainly you wouldn't see that in an Olympic distance race, but that might be something to do with the heat. She's got the time to play with. I wonder whether she would have forgotten that if Pallant had been right on her heels, but Watkinson's away. Anything under 50 minutes should be good enough to secure the win. Now, remember, Costas came off his bike, or we're making the assumption he came off his bike, because he was going at a snail's pace down the hill when we caught up with him. It doesn't look as if he's flowing. You can see Raylert in the background. Raylert's closed that margin down very, very quickly. From 43 seconds, he's got it down to less than 15. And the German certainly is flowing nicely. Well, here are the chasing athletes. In comes Imogen Simmons. That's the first we've seen of her. She has had an unbelievable bike ride. She's gone ahead of Pallant, and Radka Vodichkova just behind Pallant. So Simmons coming in second place. 1:23 I've got her bike ride clocked at, and Emma Pallant at 1:25.30, somewhere around there. And Watkinson is down as 1:18.27, so Watkinson's been the fastest, Simmons the second fastest out on the bike, and it's put her into runners-up spot. Well, look at that, 1:23 dead for Imogen Simmons. It's a bit too much to ask her to catch Watkinson, but she could well finish on the podium today. Vodichkova and Pallant are going to push her all the way. Welcome back to the Laguna Phuket Triathlon for 2016. The leaders are out on the road on the final stage of this race. Many of them looking forward to what the resort here has to offer. But Alberto Cazadei is one man who's been able to soak up the hospitality. He lives here along with his countryman, Massimo Cigana. Cazadei won this race back in 2014. He'd love to do it again, but it's going to be mighty hard work. He's going to have to do something extra special on the run if he's going to take the victory. And it's because these two, Costas and Raylert, are really pushing the pace. The lead is about to change. After more than an hour and a half, Raylert finally gets in front of Costas. A word of encouragement and perhaps some information on what is going on behind. But Raylert looking every bit the runner.
Actually, my background was swimming. I wasn't never really a good runner, but once I picked it up, mostly I won my races because of my run. So I guess I'm a pretty good runner. But last year I struggled pretty much during the run. Even it's just a short course for running, it's just 12K. But because of the heat, and you run on concrete and you run on another surface, so it's always a little bit technical. And of course the heat will slow you down. And last year I struggled. I was lucky to win, but it shouldn't be 1K more. So like, I'm looking forward this year that maybe I'm a bit smarter after the bike, that I won't go like full gas on the run for the first mile. So I slow myself down.
Well, here's the course that they've got to negotiate twice around this 6-kilometre loop. As you can see, lots of twists and turns, lots of dead turns, so they know exactly where the opposition is. And that's very useful now for Michael Raylert, who leads the men's. He'll be able to gauge his performance. And I'm not sure that Watkinson is going to see anyone. She's so far ahead of the rest of the field. 6 minutes the margin at the moment. And she's storming her way to victory here at Laguna Phuket. Well, what a season she's having. She really had her breakthrough back in 2014 when she won the Challenge Gold Coast race, and she hasn't looked back since then. Costas now, well, he doesn't need to look back because the man he worries about is in front. He is hanging on in there. He's in a deep, deep place as he tries to just ensure he holds on to second. So important as a pro. You need that money to support your sport. Raylert is going to pick up a decent check today. It's a good thing the zip doesn't go any further down. Just trying to keep the body cool. I think we'll see that nice and neat before he comes into the finish, but he knows that overheating was his issue last year. And that won't be an issue for Watkinson. She lives in Thailand now.
I don't actually know the run course off by heart or anything, but apparently it goes on a golf course and it'll be quite spectacular. 2 loops, so there'll be plenty of supporters out there.
Well, there aren't so many at the back end of the course, but they're starting to gather at the finish area, waiting to see who is going to claim the titles for 2016. Watkinson, odds-on favourite. Michael Raylert, he's running quicker than anyone else out there at the moment, so he's not going to get caught unless he runs off the course. His first lap just about completed, 6,000 metres to go. Well, he's looking very, very smooth indeed. I hope this is a sign that we're going to see some good racing from him in 2017. Just about all the top pros have the odd off-season. Now, one of the characteristics of this event is that they like to give back to the community, and this mobile library is an example of that. Actually part of the tsunami relief from its 10th anniversary, and it's great that the athletes are getting involved. Here Belinda Granger probably getting as much out of this experience as the kids are.
I think that's one of the most important things in our sport, is to give back to the community. You know, we come here every year and they open their towns up to us, they open up their houses to us, so it's really nice to be able to give back and to see how well they speak English for such a young age. I love it, and of course they love getting behind the sport of triathlon. During the race you'll go out there and there's so many kids lining the streets, doing their little dances and singing their little songs, and it's really special, and I think Phuket's renowned for that, so to be able to give back in some way is always lovely.
Well, here comes Michael Raylett, and so far today he has bettered his times from last year. I know the cycle course was just a little bit shorter than last year, but his swim was faster, the cycle was significantly faster, and he's on course for a better run as well. And it's no wonder that Anthony Costas is struggling to stay with the German. Costas, I'm sure now, just trying to defend that second place. 6 kilometres to go for Raylett to become the double Laguna Phuket champion. Now Costa, 1:10.58 on the bike. He gave away a minute 20 took a minute 20 out of Michael Raylett. And as we've seen, he's lost more than that. Brad Carlefelt also going well. He's in third place, the Australian at the moment. Well, there's someone who looks very, very comfortable, running well within herself, and she can afford to. Gained herself a massive lead on the bike, 5 minutes quicker than Emma Pallant, and she knows however good Emma Pallant is, she's not going to run down that sort of time over a 12-kilometre race. Back on the golf course, it's nice, easy running, undulating, but very easy to get into a rhythm, and Brad Carlefelt's done just that. He's not really closing the gap between himself and Anthony Costas at the moment. Although his run time on that first lap, just looking at it, looks about a minute and a half quicker, but he's still some way behind. And he needs to pick the pace up if he's going to challenge for second place. He will not catch Michael Raylett, who's starting to think about the win here in Thailand. Why is it so much easier to lead? Why do you feel so good? So the first lap completed for Watkinson now. 25-year-old, originally from Auckland. Raylett, on the other hand, comes from Rostock and has an 11-year advantage in terms of experience over the women's leader. Here's Emma Pallant. Well, she's a great runner, we know, but I just get the feeling that Pallant's starting to struggle with the heat. She does not look quite as steady as she did at the start of the run. Radka Vodičková from the Czech Republic, she's puffing and panting as well. The heat's certainly taking its toll. Still lying in third, which is where she finished last year. And Raylett in first, which is where he finished last year, piling on the water. He's only got another kilometre to go. Surely he can't throw it away now. Picks the pace up, starts to think about looking good, and Raylett's on his way to victory, as is Watkinson of New Zealand. Never in doubt, never in doubt. Started to put the power on with about 15 k's of the bike ride gone, and she's seen nothing of the competition since then. So the bike leading the way into the finish area. The work is almost done for Michael Raylett. He can start the celebrations. He's wearing number one. He's going to finish number one for the second year in succession. I think we'll see him back here again next year. It's a race that suits him at a time of year that suits him. Well, he'll hope that this leads to a brilliant 2017. He looks good, and there's no rush to get across the line. 2:19.14 the time, and his running time 42:39 for 12 kilometres. That's a good minute quicker than it was last year. Here comes Anthony Costas. He's lost a couple of minutes on the run. He looked good on the bike. I think he still raced the bike fairly sensibly. It would have been tempting to go too hard. He'll have learned from this experience. Costas, a potential winner certainly, but today he came up against a stronger man, a man really on form, and a man who wanted victory. Brad Carlefelt, he's had a lonely run out there. never really got to see the two leaders, and he's never really been threatened from behind. I'm not sure he's going to feel he's had a real race, but he's on the podium. Third position for Karlefelt. The man from Wagga Wagga doesn't look particularly happy with the way things have gone. Remember, he's three-time world champion over the 70.3 distance. And here's someone who could well be world champion in the future. Amelia Rose Watkinson of New Zealand. We started to take note of her performances 2 years ago, but this season has been outstanding. Yet another win coming her way. She just can't stop winning. And here's Emma Pallant. Well, she's looking like Johnny Brownlee at the World Cup Series final. She is finished, and this race is not going to come to an end 1 metre too soon. Wow, right on the limit. Good effort from Emma Pallant. They'll revive her, and Vodichkova takes third, but had it been another 100 metres, she would have had second place. I don't have much doubt about that. And there you see the men's results. The fastest run of the day, actually, Richie Nichols, who gets himself up into fourth. Karlefelt third, Costas fourth, and Michael Raylett, the champion again.
Actually, when I got off the bike, I had a minute or whatever, like he had a minute lead. I thought, oh, this is it's gonna last like for forever. But then once I got on the run, I felt strong, and Anthony, I didn't want to say he struggled a bit, but I thought like he had a crash on the bike, so he maybe suffered a bit from his crash hips. But yeah, then after 3Ks I got him, and then it was pretty nice, and yeah, I like this race.
This is an amazing race. I was seeing videos of this race when I was very young. It's like a bucket list race, so for my first time here, I'm very happy to be second and hopefully try to win this one among very, very big names and many world champions who took the win here.
Well, what a day, what a race. Watkinson certainly the performance of the day, 2:36.29. Look at the margins. Emma Pallant hanging on by the skin of her teeth to take second, but no match for Watkinson.
Yeah, it's my first time racing this event. I've heard awesome things about it all year because I've been based here with the Tanya Pro Tri team since May. So these were the kind of two races at the end of Phuket. There's another one next weekend. But yeah, today was supposed to be the big one, and it's been a really good day, and even better to take home the win.
Well, congratulations to those who've got themselves on the podium. Congratulations to everyone who's finished. It's a tough, tough race, but what a day it's been. And I know a few of the athletes are staying on for a few days to recover and enjoy everything that the Laguna resorts have to offer. I hope you'll be back for the 24th edition of the Laguna Phuket Triathlon next year.